PNM posse! PNM posse! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM, and we shall always prevail. I want to tell John Jeremie, get your grubby hands off the People's National Movement. Hands off the People's National Movement. Balisier House is our house. Balisier House is the people's house. And we will stand and defend the People's National Movement because it is there Dr. Eric Williams sat and make policies that influence the lives of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It is there George Michael Chambers sat and make policies and programs that benefited the lives of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It is there that Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning sat and made policies and programs for the People's National Movement and for economic and social development in Trinidad and Tobago. It is there Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley sat for 10 years as a Prime Minister and made policies and programs that benefited the lives of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It is the great Balisier House that gave birth to John Jeremie to serve in public office as the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago under a previous PNM government. And that is the reason why all people say ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. Ungratefulness is worse than obeah. Ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. We will not forget him. My responsibility here tonight is to remind you, PNM people, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, who John Jeremie is. I want to remind you who he is. He was given political life on this hallowed and holy compound of the People's National Movement. He was given an opportunity to serve you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, in the esteemed office of Attorney General in a PNM government. I want to ask you, Kamla Persad-Bissessar had the option of recruiting Anand Ramlogan as her Attorney General. She had the option of recruiting Gerald Ramdeen as her Attorney General. She had the option of recruiting Jagdio Singh as her Attorney General, as despicable and unfit as all of them are. But there were options that were available to Kamla Persad-Bissessar. You must ask yourself, why did Kamla turn her backs on Anand Ramlogan, John Jeremie, and the Speaker of the House, whatever is his name, and go and pick John Jeremie to be her Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago? This was a serious development, PNM people, because you see, in 2009, you'll recall that the Law Association that is so silent today passed two motions of no confidence in John Jeremie when he served as Attorney General in a PNM government. The first motion that was filed against him and passed successfully by the Law Association in the Hall of Justice was that he was attempting to interfere in the independent office of Director of Public Prosecution when Geoffrey Henderson was the DPP. You all recall that? You all recall that? A motion of no confidence was passed in John Jeremie because he was accused of interfering with the independent office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The second motion that was passed by the Law Association in John Jeremie as Attorney General in 2009 was that there were reported attempts to interfere with criminal prosecutions for political purposes. I want you to walk with me, PNM people and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. John Jeremie was accused by the Law Association, and a motion of no confidence was passed in him because he was accused of interfering with criminal prosecutions to go after his political opponents. Ask his colleague today, Dr. Rudal Munilal, who accused John Jeremie of using the machinery of state to go after political opponents. You all recall that? And then there were allegations that Jeremie played a role in the prosecution of former Prime Minister Basdio Pandey. Ask Kamla Persad-Bissessar what was the position of the UNC and what was her position then. What was the position of Rudal Munilal? They all accused John Jeremie of political interference in the criminal investigation that led to the arrest of former Prime Minister Basdio Pandey. This led to a commission of inquiry that was chaired by Lord Mustill. And in that commission of inquiry, all kinds of allegations were made against John Jeremie for interfering in the criminal justice system to persecute his political opponents. And Lord Mustill reminded the commission and the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that John Jeremie was given the opportunity to come before the commission of inquiry and to clear his name and to defend his record. And guess what? John Jeremie never appeared before the Mustill inquiry to clear his name on allegations that he was interfering with criminal prosecutions against his political opponents. 3 years ago, how many of you remember that John Jeremie applied to be an appeal court judge in Trinidad and Tobago? How many of you remember that John Jeremie applied to the Judicial and Legal Services Commission to be an appellate judge in the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago? Guess what happened? Guess what happened? Many senior judges went to Chief Justice Ivor Archie and told him if they made a mistake and appoint John Jeremie as an appeal court judge, he will receive mass resignation from the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago because judges refuse to sit at the side of John Jeremie given his record in public service in Trinidad and Tobago. I ask you, why did Kamla Persad-Bissessar chose John Jeremie to do her dirty political work when nobody else wanted him? She had access to Anand Ramlogan. She had access to Gerald Ramdeen. But she went and she chose John Jeremie because they were up to nothing good. PNM people. She spent 25 years as political leader of the United National Congress. And up to now, she cannot build one flat building that would be called the home and the headquarters of the United National Congress. But she selectively recruited John Jeremie to be her Attorney General to go after her political opponents and to go after our esteemed Balisier House. I say to Kamla Persad-Bissessar and John Jeremie, we will not allow you to interfere in the people's house. Get your grubby hands and get your dirty hands off the people's house, because this is our house. We will stand our ground and we will defend this country. We will defend this party. I want to remind you, when John Jeremie was appointed Attorney General, that's 1 year ago, He stood in the parliament and he looked at some of us and he pointed in our direction and he said, I am going to war with you. I'm going to war with you. And I'm going to war with you. In any serious country, this Attorney General would have been fired immediately. But he was sent there to do a purpose. He was sent there to do dirty political work. And when he pointed at us and said he was going to war with us, you, and you, he was doing the bidding of Kamla Persad-Bissessar. The next thing he did was that he removed the Anti-Corruption Bureau from under the Office of Commissioner of Police and placed it in the bosom of the Attorney General's office. An office that was removed by the PNM government from the AG's office because it was perceived that if this office should continue to be under the AG's office, that there will be criminal prosecutions and the prosecutions might be regarded as very tainted. John Jeremie went, removed the Anti-Corruption Bureau and placed it under the AG's office. And guess what? There was a part of the Strategic Services Association, our spy agency, that's supposed to be independent, especially from political operatives. What did John Jeremie do? He removed a part of the SSA, that spy agency, that has the capacity to listen to every single one of your conversation on the phone, on your mobile phones. And he removed that office and he put it under his office so that he now has command of the prosecution arm of the state and the spy agency to listen to all yours and my conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious matter. This is a matter that we, the people, and in the People's National Movement cannot and must not ignore. Because it is this commission, this SOE, that we are living under for the last how many years, under this UNC government, was pursued by John Jeremie and Alexander, not to reduce crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago. It was to go after persons they regard as their political opponents. And that is the reason why, when I walk the streets and I go into the community, people are asking me, why does John Jeremie look so hateful? Why does he look so full of revenge? Why does he look so full of vindictiveness? He does, in fact, look evil, that he has a political axe to grind. And therefore, he is doing so because I am told that when the PNM was in government for the last 10 years, guess what? He got no state brief from the PNM government. And that got him absolutely angry against the People's National Movement. And he complained bitterly, I am told. And it is believed that his revenge and his hate against the PNM is because his firm got no state brief. Today, he is Attorney General, and millions of dollars are not given to his firm in state briefs. They are given to the law firm in deep South Trinidad, led by a man who has serious allegations of legal kickbacks to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And I asked John Jeremie, why are you so interested in Balisier House? Go and ask Anand Ramlogan to answer the allegations of corruption that was leveled against him by a senior legal practitioner. Mr. Nelson, go and ask him that. Go and find out what is happening with that investigation and remove your grubby hands off the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you here today that there's a serious issue in this country that many people are afraid to talk about. And that issue is in relation to the PDOs that have been issued to over 400 citizens that have them incarcerated. Are you aware that out of the 465 PDOs issued by the police, only 435 of those PDOs were executed on persons. Ask yourself, what is happening with the rest of the PDOs? I am told that there is a massive corruption taking place in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, where businessmen and citizens of means are told that there's a PDO out for their arrest, and if they do not pay thousands of dollars to corrupt police officers, then the PDO will be executed on them. I want to ask the Commissioner of Police, what does he know about that? Preventative detention orders are being issued. They are being held back. Citizens are told, if you do not pay thousands of dollars in corruption to corrupt police officers, then PDOs will be executed and you will be incarcerated against your will. And that is the reason why the PNM has always been calling for a full and transparent investigation into the management of PDOs, because you will find out that the vast majority of citizens who are incarcerated under PDOs are not guilty of any criminal offense, and there's massive corruption taking place. Ladies and gentlemen, enough is enough. The time has come for us to act in this country. Let us not be afraid of the United National Congress. Let us not be afraid of despicable Alexander. Let us not be afraid of none of them, because Trinidad and Tobago belong to all of us. If they want, they can threaten us with PDOs, but our voices will always be heard in the communities, in the streets, in the highways and the byways. Because as long as we have the People's National Movement, our voices will not be buried. And therefore, this order that was served on the People's National Movement to ask what we are doing and how we came about with funds to construct our Balisier House. We will not be afraid of this order, because the PNM, ladies and gentlemen, is not only in brick and concrete and mortar. The PNM lives in the heart and the dreams of every single citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. You can burn it down. You can rip it apart. The PNM lives in the hearts of every single citizen. And we will not be cowed by this order, because this order, we will confine it to where it's supposed to be. Because as the psalmists say, just like the UNC and John Jeremie, it was conceived in political sin, ladies and gentlemen. It was born in sin, and it was shapen in political iniquity, just like John Jeremie and Kamla Persad-Bissessar. And therefore tonight, we will burn this court order. We will burn this court order, because it will not desecrate the grounds upon the People's National Movement was built upon. And we will send them to the political ashes in the political cemetery of the peoples of Trinidad and Tobago. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM.